During my sister's wedding ceremony, my father-in-law suddenly said, "To be honest, both my wife and I wish this marriage never happened. We'd end it right now if we could." He looked at me and my sister with a sneer and added, "You're beneath us." My sister, who was in her wedding dress, started to cry. As her older brother, I stood up to defend her and her husband against our father-in-law's attempt to ruin the wedding. The crowd, which had been buzzing with whispers, went silent and then burst into applause. My name is Robert Smith. I'm 30 years old and single. I currently run a small family-owned lunch shop. When I was in college, my parents died in a car accident, so I decided to drop out and take over the family business. I moved back home to live with my sister Emily, who is 6 years younger than me, while I ran the lunch shop. I wanted to become a public servant in the future, but I needed to focus on supporting myself and my sister. Fortunately, my parents left detailed notebooks about the lunch business, including ingredient quantities, recipes, and cost calculations. My father's rough notes were neatly transcribed by my mother, who had beautiful handwriting. Our shop sign, "Smith's Packed Lunch," was handwritten by my mother, adding a personal touch. She always taught me, "Your writing reflects your heart, Robert. Let's make sure you write beautifully." Even though we live in a digital age, I've always cherished handwritten letters. Emily, influenced by me, also had beautiful handwriting. The small 5 square meter shop and the handwritten recipes are precious assets left by my parents. With the help of loyal part-time workers, I learned how to make the packed lunches. I even earned a culinary license while working. Emily often helped me, which was a great relief. When I was 24 and Emily was 18, she said, "Robert, after I graduate, I'll help you with the shop." I replied, "No, you don't have to push yourself. I'll manage somehow. You should do what you want, Emily." Emily responded, "If I can choose, making packed lunches is what I want to do right now." After graduating from high school, Emily immediately started helping with the family business, for which I was truly grateful. With her help, I began developing original menus. I analyzed what was selling well, refined each packed lunch, reduced the number of items, and focused on a lineup of key products. "Robert, the fried chicken is selling like crazy recently. I modified Dad and Mom's recipe. It's a garlic and ginger sauce flavor that appeals to local tastes. Our spiced chicken curry is also doing pretty well. I hope it continues to do well. Should we increase how much we make?" Emily suggested. As she had predicted, the fried chicken became a hit, spreading quickly by word of mouth. Some regular customers even started ordering the fried chicken curry, which wasn't on the menu, and it eventually became a staple. My father often said, "Our customers are helping our shop grow." Although busy times could be hectic, seeing the part-time workers and Emily working hard along with the happy faces of our customers naturally eased my fatigue after work. As the second-generation owner, I began to believe that Smith's Packed Lunch had the potential for growth and that there was much more we could achieve. "Welcome." Emily's cheerful voice echoed through the store. "Oh, that man is here again. He's a recent regular customer. He's been coming in with the determination to try every item on the menu. You're just one fried chicken box and a special fried chicken curry away from completing the menu." "Quite impressive," Emily said. "I like to save the best for last. Thank you for always making such delicious lunches," the customer replied. Having regular customers is a blessing. On rainy days, sales typically drop, but this customer would even come during storms. "Robert, I have something to tell you," Emily said. "When I was 16, I started helping with the family business right after high school. John's father told Emily, 'I'm looking for someone more suitable for John. I could introduce him to someone else. You might have had a tough life, but you are not suitable for my son. He's our precious eldest son. Please leave.'" Despite John's efforts to defend Emily, his father wouldn't listen. Emily came home feeling sad, embarrassed, and disappointed. "Not suitable, huh? I can't believe some parents still think like that in this day and age. I'm proud to be the daughter of a small packed lunch shop owner, but today I just feel shattered. The talk about status and everything made me cry. How can they judge you based on what little they hear?" Emily said, tears in her eyes. "John says he won't give up even if his father opposes. He wants to proceed with the wedding plans. We might end up eloping, you know. It sounds like a reverse Romeo and Juliet. It could be a tragic story." I told John not to push himself, but he said he couldn't imagine his life without me. He was serious enough to say he'd cut ties with his parents if that's what it took for us to be together. Whether that was the best decision for both of them was unclear. As her brother, I couldn't stand to see Emily cry. If anything bothers you, no matter how small, talk to me, I told her. Thanks, Robert. It must have been the first time Emily had ever been looked down upon, so it hurt her deeply. Tears welled up in her eyes again. John was very serious about marrying Emily. At home, Emily was writing wedding invitations by hand. She was steadily preparing for the wedding. It's their life after all, I thought, feeling like there was no room for me to intervene. Meanwhile, I was working on promoting the shop using a website and social media, even though I wasn't very familiar with computers and phones. Recently, I bought a food truck, had Emily write the chalkboard menus, and started attending local markets to spread the word about Smith's packed lunch. The wedding date was set. It was going to be a small ceremony with close family. Robert, I've managed to convince my parents. Please attend the wedding without worry. I trust you, John, but Emily still insists on working at the shop. That's included in our plans. Having her work will be helpful. Robert, you know the customers come to get their energy from me, and you will miss me, right? Emily was my only sister, my only family. As her brother, it was my duty to let her go, but I felt a bit lonely. Her promise to continue helping with the shop was my only solace. The wedding day arrived. Seeing Emily, who usually wore a cotton bandana, apron, and jeans, now with her hair beautifully done and wearing a wedding dress, I was amazed at how stunning she looked. Thinking about all the struggles we went through, I couldn't help but shed tears at her radiant appearance. Robert, why are you crying? It's too early for that. We're just getting started. Oh, it's just dust in my eye. Ouch. I should take some pictures. I took out my rarely used DSLR camera and captured Emily from various angles. I must have clicked the shutter about 50 times. These photos would be precious memories of our time together. Robert, you're such a kind person. Thank you for everything. Please continue to support me. In truth, those words of gratitude were likely meant for our late parents. Ever since I dropped out of college, I've been a stand-in parent for Emily. I hoped I managed that role well enough. Overwhelmed by Emily's thanks, I turned away and cried. The ceremony proceeded as planned. The bride and groom sat at their seats, looking at us with a mix of shyness and happiness. It was time for the father of the groom's speech. Although John's father had initially opposed the marriage, John assured me he had convinced his father. Good day, everyone. I am Sam Thompson, the father of the groom, John. On this auspicious day, I thought as I watched the groom's father, I feel like I've seen that man somewhere before. He seemed accustomed to public speaking and was adept at holding the audience's attention. His speech was written on a long, vertically folded piece of paper, suggesting it would be lengthy. I expected it to be a heartfelt speech that would make the bride and groom happy. As I was saying, I run a food manufacturing company and plan to pass it on to my eldest son, John. He spoke about his company, how he had raised John with care, and his desire for John to inherit the business. This meant Emily's future would be secure. However, as the speech continued, it took a strange turn. I heard the bride's parents passed away early, and she's had a tough life as the daughter of a small packed lunch shop owner. In contrast, John graduated from graduate school and is set to become an elite. This is the very definition of disparity. Is this kind of misfortune acceptable? Frankly, both my wife and I wish this marriage never happened. We want it annulled immediately. The room began to buzz. The groom's father placed the letter on the bride and groom's table, as if to say, "Take this." A wedding speech that proposed breaking off the marriage. This wedding was orchestrated to humiliate us siblings. Emily was in tears, and John got furious at his father's selfishness, and stood up abruptly. I also stood up, seeing this, and signaled John to calm down. I took the father's letter and stepped up to the microphone. "What are you doing, young man? Why did you take my letter?" John's father said. "I'm next in line for the speech, so I took the liberty of coming up," I replied with a smile. The MC hurriedly introduced me. "I am Robert Smith, the bride Emily's brother." "Robert Smith? Who is this youngster?" John's father muttered, trying to recall. He looked at me, searching through his memory. "The groom's parents may oppose this marriage, but I support it. Though I may be just the son of a small packed lunch shop owner, my sister and I have shared many hardships together. We take great pride in the work we inherited from our late parents, and we always will. The room grew even more restless. I continued, "They say handwriting reflects the heart. Looking at this letter written by the groom's father, I see nothing but a regrettable and rude individual. Placing such a poorly written letter on the bride and groom's table is an insult to their special day." "What are you saying, you impertinent fool?" I said. "It's a mismatch," John's father shouted. "Do you know who I am?" "Mr. Thompson," I retorted firmly. "Ah, you're Robert Smith, the owner of Smith's Packed Lunch." Recognition dawned on his face. I usually wore an apron with a headscarf, but he finally matched the name with the person. "Regardless of what you say, even if this marriage seems like a modern-day Romeo and Juliet, I will support and watch over John and Emily as a brother and brother-in-law. Thank you for listening." The previously buzzing room fell silent and then erupted in applause. After the ceremony, John's father hurried over to me. "I didn't realize you were the owner of Smith's Packed Lunch. I sincerely apologize for my rudeness. I'm just the son of a packed lunch shop owner. I understand your point clearly." The father had once visited our shop with his executive, proposing to turn our popular fried chicken into a frozen food product and even expand into a chain of fried chicken specialty stores. It was a pivotal project for their company, and I had been on the verge of signing the contract, impressed by how much they valued my recipe. But after the way he humiliated my sister and me and embarrassed his own son at the wedding. "Your handwriting reveals your character." My mother's words were right. Handwriting reflects the heart. "Mr. Thompson, please consider the proposal null and void. It's impossible to work with you." "That's impossible. We've already finalized the package design and sent it to the printer. We've also contracted and renovated 6 stores. You acted too quickly. I haven't signed the contract. Moreover, this recipe is a treasured family secret, refined by me from my late parents' original. I'm not giving it away. You should look elsewhere. The Smith's Packed Lunch brand carries significant weight. Please reconsider." Suddenly, John interjected and cut into the conversation. "Dad, our relationship ends today as promised. I never expected such a betrayal. I'm cutting ties with you." "John, please reconsider. You're the only heir." John shouted with tears streaming down his face. "Who broke our promise first?" Thus, John ceased to be a son to his father. He took on our family name, becoming John Smith. After the tumultuous wedding, Emily and John moved into an apartment near the packed lunch shop. Emily's previously 0-minute commute turned into a 20-minute bike ride. Despite this, she continued to greet customers with her usual cheerful welcome and worked hard in both customer service and food preparation. Handwritten pop signs are now Emily's specialty. They are an indispensable promotional tool for Smith's Packed Lunch. John supported me on the business side, asking, "Robert, is there anything I can help with?" Cutting ties with his parents did not diminish John's exceptional marketing skills. He later established a digital marketing company. With no hair left, John's parents brought in a new president for their food manufacturing company from outside. However, as a chairman, Mr. Thompson was not good at delegating and quickly drove the new president out. He then took on the title of chairman and president himself, but his notorious reputation caused the company to shrink further. The cost of losing John was steep for Mr. Thompson. With John's help, I focused on product development. While creating hip products was challenging, Smith's Packed Lunch gained more recognition. The chicken curry John suggested was initially sold in local convenience stores and supermarkets, but now it can be reached nationwide through online sales. It was even featured in department store catalogs for holiday gifts. It felt like a small stone causing ripples in a pond, expanding slowly but surely. What our late parents built was now blossoming. One day, a woman came for an interview. She was a year older than me. I looked over the resume, and the handwriting on the resume was excellent. The handwriting was beautiful, reminiscent of my mother's. She expressed her love for our packed lunch and store interior. Her sincerity was evident. Emily vouched for her meticulous customer service and work ethic. Handwriting reflects the heart, I thought, captivated by her elegant handwriting. I proposed to this passionate woman. Now we have 2 children, making us a family of 4. Today, we're taking the food truck with our family and my sister's family to a gourmet food festival. The event is at a large park in New York. A large crowd is expected. We've refined our signature fried chicken for this day. I am confident that the future of Smith's packed lunch is bright.